Welcome back to the CRLB stream. Okay, all right, we're going to stop that right now. Welcome back to the CRLB stream. We have your next match ready and waiting. Once again, I'm Squid, joined by Hunted, and we are excited to get into this next one, where we're going to see if UCSB can keep their playoff dreams alive.
That they can with a victory here against Oregon. We watched Oregon again last night, so returning teams from yesterday's action. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Oregon did drop that series, and they're going to have to go up against another tough opponent, this time in UCSB, who has had, again, one of those seasons where there were ups and downs along the way. They have some notable wins. Of course, they defeated Nebraska off stream very, very recently, so a huge victory for them. They're looking to follow it up and potentially a playoff berth as well.
Yeah, and if anybody's been following the CRL, which I entirely hope that you have been, everyone knows that Nebraska, definitely one of the strongest teams in the conference, so no small feat there. And Oregon, although they did lose their match on stream yesterday, did have inklings of strength. So UCSB has to be careful not to let Oregon play spoiler to the potential end of the season here and their playoff chances.
Yeah, and I believe UCSB also did take a win earlier on tonight against Cal Poly A, so this will be their official final match of the season. And with a victory, I don't know exactly where it puts them in the picture. It certainly gives them life and hope to make that top 8. I'm not exactly how it will all shake out, as there are still teams that, especially in the West, that have a lot of games left to play. However, they're looking quite good, over 500 right now, and they're looking to make the final push into the playoffs, and it couldn't come at a better time against an Oregon team who struggled yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised if they struggle again today.
And you did mention how they won their match earlier on, which would place them at 7-7 presently, which is going to be the number 8 spot over UT Arlington. Still some matches to be played for everyone else, and a UCSB victory here would put them at 8-7, just over that 500 mark, as you mentioned, Hunted. Let's see if they can pull it off here as we get into game number 1 with Oregon in the blue and Santa Barbara in the orange.
Really the most interesting thing about Santa Barbara is the amount of improvement they've had throughout the course of the season. We got a chance to watch them, I believe, every week so far on the B stream. And each week they have just gotten better and better. It wasn't the best game in week 1. They came out and played hard in game 2, and I expect them to continue that improvement streak here in week 3.
We shall have to see how it pans out. Thus far, only one shot on the board for either team. Oregon on the offense presently at one off the back wall, but Inline are able to get that one away. Viking going to follow that one up, taking it off the back wall. Rather slow start to game number 1 as the teams try to get started here and find out who's going to be playing the offense. That was a close call. Only barely making the reaction was one of the UCSB defenders.
Yeah, I like the pressure coming out of the gate from Oregon. They're keeping the ball in the UCSB half, forcing the team in orange really to make some good defensive plays. This is a good clear, though, could lead to some offense.
Gotta be careful here. Another shot just off the mark from Gerardo. Viking makes the challenge. Inliner gonna try and keep it in the zone. Viking for the follow-up shot, making the cross, but Skippy is there. Lots of respect for the offense on the Oregon side, making sure that doesn't get through. Quality play, though, overall in the striking category.
Yeah, still no goals scored. 3 shots for Santa Barbara, 1 for Oregon. Let's see if that changes anytime soon. As it looks like Santa Barbara, they've really started to come alive on the offensive side. Another good keeping by Gerardo is going to keep this rolling.
2 minutes now gone as well. And you mentioned it, Santa Barbara looking to get just that little bit more aggressive. They're running out of steam, it looks like. Lose control of the midfield could use a little bit of improvement, but their offensive rotation still getting set up, so they're definitely playing for the long con here, I feel, Hunted.
And you talk about boost control in mid, and Santa Barbara's been doing a great job of that so far in this game. I've been watching the boost battle go on in this past minute or so since Santa Barbara has pushed into the offense. They're really making sure they get to those mid boosts first.
At the half, though, still nothing to show for, but that's going to change right here. Nice shot, Gerardo. receiving from Viking out of the corner to put his team in the lead.
Hey, you want to talk about mid-boost? Guess what? On the backside of this play, you're not going to see it in the replay. The third player, I believe, was Skippy for Oregon, is going to collect mid-boost because he has been out for the past 45 seconds or so. That is the power of stealing boost away from your opponent, as he was not able to be in that play as he was collecting boost.
I'm actually getting an update from our production crew as well. Big shout out to you guys as well. Oregon actually coming into this series losing to UNT in Game 5, but they're going to try and change their fate here. Acro putting one up on the board for his team.
And this is just a mistouch from Gerardo. He's going to want to hit that a little bit harder towards his corner, and it's well played by Oregon. Solid passing play right out in front as a wonderful touch from Leland to Acro. We're tied up with just over 2 minutes to go.
They could realistically still go either way. UCSB have had the majority of offense, but a great fake underneath the wall, and it just rolls on through. Skippy gonna do it all alone.
Yeah, and this is just a beauty of a fake here. Gerardo tries to get the read, goes up a little bit too high. Skippy not going to make a mistake with that play. That's his second shot of the game. First goal of the game for him. He puts his team up by 1.
You can tell the initial defender there just trying to make a force so that Viking had enough time to get back, but Skippy putting it perfectly in the bottom corner. Keep it away from the defender coming on in, and now it's up to UCSB to try and come back into this game.
Playing from behind, never easy. But I'm not, would not be surprised to see UCSB make a final push here on offense. The inliner had a chance there. He pushed it just wide. Again, they look to play in the offensive side. That is another pass, and the rotation has been so good. Leads to the second goal of the game.
And Viking and Gerardo just have each other's number on this. Look at that play. Oftentimes, you're going to get a teammate in whatever, context. It could be in a tournament, it could be in regular ranked queue, but it's very hard to trust in your teammate to make that back pass from the corner. But Gerardo had so much faith. He knew exactly what was happening. Great coordination.
Just about a minute and 20 seconds to go. Santa Barbara and Oregon knotted up at 1 here in game number 1. Once again, this is a very important series, mainly for Santa Barbara. They are 7-7 on the season. This is the final game for them in this CRL 19, and it very easily could decide if they make the playoffs or if they, fortunately, will have to watch from home. I think for Oregon, they have been fully eliminated from playoff contention, so they're just trying to play spoiler now. But either way, they played a tough game 1.
They certainly have, and you're talking about UCSB, and oh my goodness, they're going to seed here. Skippy taking that one off the ceiling touch here by Acro.
Yeah, another wonderful challenge. This time, Gerardo just gets caught on the back while he doesn't opt to go for the tough challenge there. He just drives into the ball, and it ends up coming off the ceiling and down. That's a 3-2 lead now with only 38 to go for Oregon.
Again, back to the point. UCSB still in a very volatile Western Conference. Lots of games to be played for many of the teams trying for those bottom 4 spots in playoffs. So again, any sort of series win and even game wins that they can get would help here.
Final 13 seconds. The inliner looking for the pass from Gerardo. Skippy does make the save. Viking to collect. It's going to bounce off the wall. Final 5 seconds and into the blue corner. Gerardo out. Here's the inliner. He's way too early for that play. And Oregon take the victory. Little overzealousness from the offense there. They don't get the touch, and Oregon take game 1.
And it certainly was a desperate situation, but Viking dedicating a lot of time to try and go for the defender in net as well. Unable to support the pass coming in through center. So Oregon securing that game 1 win, but you can just look at the shot count to tell that UCSB certainly put up the numbers when it came to playing the offensive side. And, it felt like a pretty controlled game for a while, but every single time they found themselves on defense, I was scared for them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the shot counter, like you said, they had 10 shots, but really the surprising thing to look at is Oregon, they had 3 goals and only 5 shots. It certainly felt like Oregon were creating themselves those opportunities, and like you said, every time that Santa Barbara was on the defensive side, it was a bit scary. It really felt like Oregon made things happen when they needed to, Not the whole game, not every single time, but they just enough to score 3 goals, give them that victory, and now they look good going into game 2.
Certainly do, and once again, they just need to play spoiler. Their season's over. They don't have many stakes in this game, other than the fact that they can try and, just pull the strings a little bit for other teams. So they'd be perfectly happy. They might just be out there trying to have fun with this game. And I said on the stream yesterday, when I'm personally having fun playing Rocket League, that's when I play best. So if you're UCSB here, you gotta be fearful, but you can't be underconfident because they have had some good offensive chances. They just got to be careful about committing on them, and Gerardo is just going to take one right off the bat. Assist from Yinliner right off the faceoff. This
is a very good shot from Gerardo. Leland's cutting back across the pitch to try to make this save. Gerardo just puts it out of reach for him. So a good 1-0 lead for Santa Barbara to start off the game. And just to follow up on what you said, it's definitely important for them to play without fear of this Oregon team. Granted, you don't want to be overconfident, but you don't want to play with nerves. You don't want to play with fear. You want to go out and play your style of game, how you like to play Rocket League. Try to get in that zone, and good things are going to happen.
And Viking almost making something good happen there, but denied by Skippy on the goal line. As Lee will now push out, Skippy trying to follow it up, but to no avail. Taking one out, Gerardo. Well, Leyland with the cutoff, excellently done. And Oregon stalling this offense for the time being, as UCSB desperately looks for an opening to try and make this work.
10 to go, game number 2 now. Lobbing shot towards the net. Viking will take out Acro in net. Gerardo looking for a pass out in front. He'll touch it himself. Doesn't even need the inliner, and it's 2-0 for Santa Barbara.
And that demo really does it all. Having sent the second man out there into the corner, and Leland moving out past the front post, Gerardo has so much to shoot at. And it might be just, you might just chalk that one up to an unlucky spawn. It looked like Acro had no say in that play, having spawned in the right-hand corner. So I guess a couple of lucky situations there for Santa Barbara, but they're going to have to maintain this lead for the remainder of these 4 minutes. And Oregon put up 3 points last game, so they can't sleep easy yet.
Certainly can't. One thing I really like about Gerardo's goal, though, in that last play is that he took their back corner boost, made the play on the wall, and then used every single ounce of that boost to put the ball in the back of the net. Although this is scary, almost an opportunity for Gerardo. Viking gets challenged by Leland. That was nearly an Oregon misfire on defense. Luckily, they come away unscathed, but they're still down 2.
Yeah, and thus far, I mean, we've seen miscommunications on their side, but they're relatively few and far between. So lucky they didn't get punished for that one. But UCSB is more than happy to just box in their opponents at this point. The classic turtle up kind of style from defending at the midfield line. There's a shot on target, but it didn't have much power. Just Skippy easily able to get it away, and the follow-up will move out as well. Now a great pass. Well, Leland expecting it right from the get-go, and the pass almost a little bit too telegraphed for the Oregon defense.
And, that's okay if you're Santa Barbara. Let it be a telegraphed pass, because you know that Oregon has to respond and react to it. It pulls defenders out of position, and eventually you'll get a shot that works, or you'll get a good rebound you can knock home. I like that they're trying to line these passing plays up instead of just using the back wall.
Absolutely. But Gerardo, around 1 now, down into center. Skippy's gonna get it away. And you almost have to appreciate the respect by Viking there. Didn't want to commit. Doesn't get that touch off the back wall, though. A vital read. Oregon just didn't want to dive on that ball either. We might be getting into a little bit more of a defensive game. Again, neither team really wanting to commit too hard on the offense here, but it would heavily favor UCSB if Oregon don't decide to try and make a powerful move here soon.
Yeah, they're definitely going to want to jump on the offensive side, but that being said, Santa Barbara has some offense to try of their own. They've already got 2 goals, and that's been the difference maker here in this game. The inliner looking for a pass down to Viking, who's going to rotate back. Gerardo looking for the corner touch now. Comes out in front, Viking shot, that's just high. Leland can't quite get it by the inliner, but that's a good enough 50 to find the clear for Acro.
Yeah, Viking probably going to want that one back, hitting it off the back wall. Instead of just the crossbar, would have been great as pushing that one all the way downfield with almost no boost. And the tank pass across to Gerardo, cut off by Leland, and now the counter comes through. off the back wall. Oh my goodness, that's a little bit too much mustard on the pinch, and does Skippy ask for a retreat to take control. Ceiling shot, Gerardo is there for the save, followed by Acro. Plenty of chance, but didn't use the flip, didn't have the power. Now counter here for UCSB. Gerardo, they're off to the races. He'll get it through for a 3-0 lead.
This is a pure and simple Rocket League play from Gerardo for his hat trick. Makes 2 saves to keep the ball out of his own net, gets around 2 defenders, has enough in the tank to knock it home. That is a perfect play from Gerardo, and that should just about secure game 2 for his team.
Certainly will, and UCSB playing so much. Oh my goodness! All right, well, Leland, he doesn't want me to talk about Santa Barbara. This is all about Acro and Leland.
And Leland's expecting this pass, and he gets right on the backside of that. Just enough power to force that over top of the defender. No chance for Santa Barbara boys defending the goal line there. So it's 3-1 now. It's certainly not out of the game as Oregon. But that seems like a bit of a fluke play that Santa Barbara wasn't ready for. We'll see how they respond.
Yeah, it was rather high heat at 94 miles an hour. Very difficult to defend in any situation, really. But Santa Barbara has been playing with a 2-goal lead for the majority of this game, and they might get a third here. Nicely done. Gerardo taken from Viking once again.
Gerardo gets his 4th in this game now, and we talked about it. You said that the passing plays seem a little bit telegraphed. That's another one, but this time it goes in. The shot is too good, using the defender as leverage as well to bounce that one home. And again, it's Santa Barbara connecting through the mid-plays, and it has really come to fruition for them here in this game. I am really hopeful for them in game 3 and beyond.
And Ginliner just making a save a moment ago. Well done, they're keeping it together, and I have to say, you know, the telegraph pass, but they've improved it so much. Viking, having hit it with the side of his car, left just enough uncertainty for the defense to not know exactly where that ball was going, and now the final seconds on the clock. There's going to be a nice goal to Skippy, accepting the goal from the demo on the back end, but it might be too little too late here.
Could potentially be, you never know, a pinch goal off the kickoff, and all of a sudden,
and then another one.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can score with time remaining, of course, there's can't team out. But with that kickoff, that looks like that's going to do it. And at least Oregon gets one back at the end of the game. It's a kind of a feel-good goal. Leland will even score a third. So hey, there you go. The final score only going to be 4-3. It felt like it was a Santa Barbara game from beginning to end. They do eventually get the victory, but you know, at least Oregon kind of brings some of that momentum back before we go into game 3.
Yeah, and it's something we actually haven't really talked too much about on the CRL stream thus far, but having that kind of momentum moving into the next game can be very important. It's almost something that's kind of fallen out of favor, for me at least, but it's pretty common. Getting those 2 goals right at the end back, hey, you got a little bit moving you forward in the next game, saying, hey, they can bleed. Next game, we can just take them down pretty easily. Granted, I don't think that's necessarily the case. UCSB played a pretty textbook game this time around, but Oregon definitely still have that flame in their eyes.
It was much better, even though I think they had the same number of shots, UCSB. Yeah, they had 10 shots last game, 10 shots this game. But it was much more setup plays, much more dangerous shots, I should say, on net. And again, you talk about those passing plays, telegraphed or not, they are so hard to defend. When you don't know how hard this ball is going to come at you, you don't know where it's going to go on net. And they used it to full effect to score those 4 goals that they had. It was a much better offensive game from UCSB, and you can tell that they really want to secure this series and potentially push themselves into top 8.
Yeah, and you talk about those telegraph passes, and sure, yeah, you admitted it. Sometimes they can be a little bit easy to tell when they're going to happen, but UCSB has made it a point as well to, you know, they're making these telegraph passes. They, you know, the defenders can tell when they're coming in, but they've been making sure that they use these passes after they've already been peppering the net a couple of times to make sure the defenders, they can see that it's going to happen, but they can't be in position to make the interference play. So the pass is going to come on target anyways, and then you said it. It's going to be, it can be a varying power. It can go just about anywhere in the net, and that is a very difficult situation to be in as a defender. And UCSB, right out of the gate, they want more. Gerardo tossing that one high to open up the offense.
Certainly want a fast start to this game to Santa Barbara, and I cannot blame them. They played quickly in game 2. It ended up in a victory for them. And if you are just joining us, welcome in. You haven't missed a whole lot of action. We did play one series a little bit earlier OSU Gray versus Penn State. That was a pretty good matchup. Unfortunately for Penn State, that did knock them out of playoff contention with OSU taking the victory 3-1 in that series. And now we're tied up in game number 3, 0-0, but also tied up 1-1 in the series as well. For Oregon, they're already knocked out of the playoff squid, but again, this is such an important game for Santa Barbara. Could, like I said, really push them into that top 8 spot.
Could indeed. And again, Oregon, any opportunity to play Puppet Master here, with playoffs being just around the corner, is an opportunity I'm certain that they'll want to take. For Santa Barbara, they've got to be careful every step of the way, but the first minute and a half about gone now. Still not too much action here, totaling 3 shots on both sides of the ball, but that could be an opportunity. Yinliner make it up for Gerardo's little bit of mispositioning there. Viking now looking downfield, finds Yin off to the back wall, trying to make the read, but Skippy was there first. Excellently done defending that back wall.
Now Leland might have an opportunity here for Oregon. The Vikings going to get the touch. Gerardo's looking for an additional one. Has Yinliner in support in mid. Actually, Yinliner turns off, seeing Leland was going to beat him to that ball. Solid defensive play for Oregon to keep everything from the front of the goal. But now Viking looking to create the Skippy off the back wall over to Leland. That is a note we haven't touched on too much in this series. Both teams' back wall defense has been stellar so far.
Yeah, and actually I was just thinking about the fact that UCSB, if you recall, in Game 1, I did note that a lot of the times I was rather worried for them when they were on the defensive half. Not the case anymore. They've made it a point to ensure that they're maintaining control of their own backfield even when they're playing on the offensive side. You can see right now there's most likely a player just waiting right behind, and there he is. Yinliner coming in from the midfield. Having that kind of control is what is allowing them to push more effectively onto the offense and controlling their own offensive half at the same time.
Well, with all that control, unfortunately, it hasn't led to a goal yet. Only 5 shots registered, 4 for Santa Barbara, 1 for Oregon. As we approach the 2-minute mark here in game number 3, Vikings getting absolutely run over by Leland. Gerardo feeling the power of Skippy as well. Eventually, Santa Barbara do find the clear. Now Gerardo plays it over top of the first defender. Acro will come in support. Can't get around Viking, but Skippy's there to find this touch all the way back down the pitch. Final minute 40 to go. Now Skippy has Leland in support. He'll turn away. Viking makes the touch, and the inliner actually gives the ball up, but Leland not the best shot in the world. It's an easy save for Gerardo.
Now an extended defensive stay here for Santa Barbara. Oregon looking to make the first goal of the game happen, and it has been a rather quiet game for both sides. We usually see more goals scored at this point. Rather back and forth as well. Yinliner can't put that one away. Gerardo could 50-50, but Leland designed that perfectly to move out to the corner. A good push for UCSB, but again, not overcommitting, making sure that they're ready for a counterattack if necessary.
Here's Yinliner, had the angle, but he just hits it a bit too far forward, and no follow-up from his team, so we continue to play on. Still knotted at 0. 45 seconds left in regulation time. This could certainly come down to whoever scores the first goal in this game. Could be the victors. Good flick from Gerardo. Acro off the back wall. The inliner up for it now. Has Viking waiting off the back wall. Viking scores. The wait pays off. Santa Barbara on the board. 28 seconds to go.
And you were talking about how the backboard defense has been so good, and Acro had to put that touch up high off the back wall. Still accounts for a little bit of real estate, and Yinliner going to make sure that they remember that until the end of time. Putting it up on the backboard once again, such an easy shot for Viking to make. And again, Hunted, I'm afraid I have to say it, an open backboard is essentially just an open net.
And could very well be an open casket in this game for Oregon, as now Viking shot. Good save from Leland. The final 10 seconds left, and they come on the offensive side now. Leland under Gerardo, but he gets the touch. Skippy's there. Shot on goal, saved by Yinliner and cleared. Leland tries to keep the ball up. Gerardo will be there to touch it down. Viking now into the dirt. And UCSB take the victory in Game 3. They put themselves 1 game away from taking the victory here in their final match of the season.
And they played so patiently throughout the game. And again, I'm going to talk about they never really overcommitted. At no point did I really fear for UCSB at any point in time, truly. I mean, it seemed like they had complete control of the midfield. They were making the contest when necessary, and they're moving down the line in tandem with each other, and eventually that turned into a goal for when they saw the glorious opportunity that Acro couldn't quite clear into the corner. That one small defensive mistake, and I must emphasize very, very small, because he still managed to clear it away. He had his teammates to back him up. They were just that quick on it. UCSB making sure they're capitalizing on what little opportunity they had there at the end of the game to close it out.
Yeah, that's the key word, capitalizing on the opportunity. No team had opportunities in that game. It was a defensive struggle through and through from minute 1 through minute 5, but eventually there was one tiny opportunity and they took it, and it was great not to rush that play. Viking could have easily decided to rush his touch and get up there before any defender had a chance, and he could have potentially hit it off the back wall or what have you. He waited, he hit it the way he wanted to, and it goes in the back of the goal. UCSB take victory, game number 3. Let me know who you think is going to win this one. Does UCSB take the victory in game 4, or does Oregon force game 5? Tweet at us, hashtag CRL19. We would love to know your thoughts. We would love to see you cheering for your favorite team, and you could potentially see your tweet here on the College Cardball channel. Game number 4, Squid, underway.
And again for Oregon, it all ends here. Does Skippy gonna throw the first one on target? 13 seconds in, and they've got the lead.
Solid touch from Skippy. Looks like everybody kind of got caught on the wrong side of the ball there from Santa Barbara. Not quite sure what happened on the kickoff, why they all decided to commit on the offensive. But either way, they end up getting a goal scored against for it. So,
well, hey, I mean, look on the bright side. I'd rather have a goal scored against you within 13 seconds of the game starting than within 13 seconds of it ending.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, unless you're like in the lead by a lot, then
yeah. Well, granted.
If it's 0-0, certainly the first 13 seconds are better than the last 13 seconds. Have to agree. But either way, Oregon up by 1 in the game at the moment. Wow, what a touch from Leland. No follow-up, though. Beats the defender. Now Acro looking for a play. That's a sharp angle. Gerardo has to make the save. He will find the clear as well. So Oregon coming to life in game 4.
This kind of even reiterates the point that I made in that UCSB giving a lot more respect to Oregon with Gerardo making that save. It was a beautiful angle by Acro, don't get me wrong. Oh, now here's a pass. Oh my goodness. How do you make that save? Again, we kind of touched on it last game. Those passes can be pretty easy to read, but you can never tell where they're going to be or how much power will be on them. Skippy made the perfect play there.
A little bit of right place, right time for Skippy. Just gets a piece of it. It goes high. Either way, keeps the shot out, and it's still 1-0 for Oregon. They are on the offensive yet again. Comes out of the corner. Acro won't be able to beat Gerardo. This could be an opportunity for Yinliner. Only has one man to beat. Leland gets there. Will fall down in front. Skippy to clear it away. Ends up giving it away to Viking, but Leland off the back ball makes it clear.
UCSB trying to so slowly move into the offensive side. Skippy, however, going to turn all that progress into a counter if he can. Coming off the ceiling there. Acro for the follow-up. Great piece of real estate on the back wall. The shot's coming through, and it will. Leland taking the pass from Acro to put him up 2.
3-man transition play. Skippy gets it started. Acro follows up, and Leland in perfect position. That is just a textbook transitional play from the boys in blue. Puts them in the lead by 2 goals now over top of Santa Barbara, who kind of night and day between games 3 and 4. They had the control, did the Gauchos in game 3, and now all of a sudden they conceded heavily to this Oregon squad.
And I feel like that can really be visualized easiest with imagining, again, what happened in the first couple of seconds of the game when Oregon got that first goal. You talked about how UCSB had already moved aggressively into the offensive end for seemingly no reason, where they didn't have that problem basically a single time in the last game. Maybe they're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable than they reasonably should have, and now it's causing some issues on the coordination.
Well, halftime has come and gone here in game number 4. Still a 2-0 lead for Oregon. Acro wants to make it 3. He's got Leland out in front. Vikings there to see it clear. Hard bounce out of the corner. Leland off the back wall. Down towards Acro, who makes the touchback into the orange zone. Viking doesn't want to keep it there for long. Great pass up to Gerardo. Skippy ready and waiting to push that aside. Now Viking to Yinliner, just wide. Again, the passing from Santa Barbara on point, but they're missing the net just by a hair.
It's one of those that they're going to want back, but at the very least, they're starting to get them started up. Good to see, and there's still plenty of time. As long as they can get out onto the offensive side, they should be able to put together one or two more of those, and we've always noticed that Viking seems to be the catalyst for these passes. Here's another one down to Gerardo. Beautiful play, 1-2 to get them back into the game.
I love the fearlessness that Santa Barbara is showing. Even down 0-2, they're playing to win these games, and they are not afraid to activate on offense. Look for those passing plays in transition through mid. And Gerardo makes it work. It's a tough read, tough goal to put that in barred down the way that he did, but he makes it work and cuts the lead in half.
UCSB almost starting right out again on the offense. You get turned away by the Skippy, but with 75 seconds, again, so much time to work with here for only that one goal, and now they've got that passing play under their belt. They might start to feel a bit more confident about their chances in this game. The Skippy going to toss this one up high towards the orange wall. Good 50-50 as well, but Viking will be able to take control to start moving Santa Barbara down to the offense. Touched by Gerardo, going to try and continue, but Acro wisely leaves it for the Skippy. They will remain on the defense.
Leland looking to find the clear. Gerardo challenging Acro now. We approach the final 40 seconds. This comes off the back wall. Skippy does get a double touch, but it finds its way into the corner. Leland, sharp angle. That might just secure the game for Oregon. That's a tough shot. He makes it work with 35 seconds to go.
And I think this caught pretty much everyone by surprise. You can see the front post defender not even making an effort to jump up to that one for lack of, ability to read that play before it got close to the net. Viking didn't jump for the ball in the corner either, assumed he just had that kind of control. The double touch from Skippy just to keep it there for that 1 second longer allowed Leland to close the gap. Excellently played, and they're going to pick up another one. Skippy, 2 goals now to his name, 2 for Leland, and Oregon running away with game 4. Or sorry, game 4. Yes.
Game 4, yes.
Caster math. Caster counting is the same thing.
Well, this scoreline shouldn't really surprise you, Squid. We saw this exact scoreline in the last game just flip the sides. 4-1 at one point in the last game. Only Santa Barbara was the team with 4, and now they find themselves pretty much gearing up to go into a game 5. This, again, is such an important series for Santa Barbara. They really, really need this one to help secure their top 8 spot. And for Oregon, this is more of a throwaway game than anything else, and they have really come and brought everything to the table, which I absolutely love. They are not letting this game slip through their fingers, especially on stream now. But for Santa Barbara, they've got to retool and get reset for Game 5, where it could be a long one.
Yeah, and you have to appreciate how Oregon is leaving it all on the field. Truly a commendable and gallant effort for them thus far, outshooting their opponents here in this game as well. But again, Santa Barbara trailing for the entirety of the regulation in this match. Kind of makes you wonder if they get the first goal in the next game, how the dynamic could change, but it's Game 5 coming up now. This is what Game 5s are for, deciding who's going to be, the ones to come out on top. We've seen back and forth. Oregon, they were on match point this game. They managed to pull out the win in rather dominant fashion, I might add. So it's just a complete toss-up at this point. Who's going to come out and play strong in Game 5? I feel like the answer to that question is just going to be the winner for this series.
Yeah, I think the first goal, like you said, is going to be very important. It's always super important, but especially in a series like this one, I really wish that was a stat that was tracked a little bit more just throughout the different leagues is, how a team plays up by that first goal, because I think it makes such a huge difference, and we're going to see that here. Whichever team comes out and scores the first one, look to them to try to find the victory here in Game 5.
It looked like Oregon almost had an opportunity right there off the bat. Oh, and they still might. Does Skippy. He's going to cut in and take that off the miss clear by Viking.
Well, first goal goes to Oregon. It's a good pass from Acro to Skippy, and another sharp angle shot, but he'll make that just about 9 out of 10 times. So good to do for him. It's 1-0 for Oregon early on in this game. This is scary if you're UCSB.
again, we talked about the playoffs just around the corner. This is Santa Barbara's final game of the season, and it is a rather swing game. If they lose here, they're 7-8. If they win, they're 8-7. And potentially in the playoffs, Gerardo off the back wall, can't make the double tap. Vikings in the air, but blocked out by Acro, and Yinliner a little bit close to put that one on target. There's still life for the Gauchos.
Yeah, playing out of the corner, though. Here comes Leland now. He's got only Yinliner to beat. Yinliner does get the better of him. Duskippy goes by 2 defenders, causing Viking to have to go up and try to make a touch. Now Acro out towards the front. It will be Viking to collect. He goes over top of Acro, and Duskippy has to put this into his own corner. And
feels like it's been an eternity.
It really has. I was just about to say that. This game feels like it has been played for 5 minutes already, and we've only played just about 1:15. Now Yinliner takes a shot. Good save by Leland. Bit of a desperation play there as Viking nearly gets the pass from Yinliner. Santa Barbara threatening early in this game, but they can't find the net.
And such a close range pass it was. You saw Viking jumping for that one, almost preliminarily. The classic term we like to say is pre-jump, I suppose, but in any case, definitely a difficult pass to try and put together. UCSB holding onto the defense. Good touch by Yinliner, but has to give it away to Acro. They're looking to push out. Potential for a pass there, but to Gerardo. What's out to dry? Yinliner opted for the shot instead. They move downfield now. Nice touch by Acro out into the corner. Textbook plays going on either side of the field right about now.
Acro nearly got beat. He was not ready for that shot from Gerardo, and it doesn't look like they're ready now, but Duskippy just barely gets across to make this save. That's got to be frustrating if you're Santa Barbara. You've had chances, and it's just been key saves at key moments for Oregon that's kept you off the board.
Still over half the game left, though, and plenty of individual talent. Gerardo wants to show you some, but Viking will do it instead. Taking the pass off the back wall, and Hunted, I don't even have to say it.
No, it's another open back wall for Santa Barbara. Viking makes him pay for it. Good read by him as well. He just stuffs that in the near post there. We're tied up 1-1, halfway point. Game number 5, an all-important one for the boys in orange. Yinliner goes over top of the defenders now. Gerardo almost gets underneath of Acro there. Viking not able to keep the ball in. Does get the bump onto Acro. This gives Yinliner a chance to rotate in. Gerardo's next in line to play it. Duskippy turns in his corner. Gerardo out in front. Vikings there. Beats Acro to the ball, but doesn't have the angle to put it on goal. Bit of a bump. Going to cause this ball to careen into the orange sidewall. Replay 1-1, Squid. Could we have another overtime in this series? I would not be surprised, but man, it's really come down to the wire.
I certainly would not be surprised either, but to me personally, I'm looking at this game right now, and I feel like it might come down to mental fortitude, and I think that's a perfect example. One player taken out of the net on the UCSB side. Acro didn't place it in that location, however. Duskippy almost getting that 1v1 play, not quite though, closed down just before the goal line. Santa Barbara, after a lengthy defense, finally pushing out onto the blue half for at least a little bit. 1:20 on the clock. Things coming, as you said, word for word, down to the wire.
Yeah, and the physical play has really started to up in this game. Both teams going for bumps and demos much more than we've seen in the series. You can see they want to open up that kind of space to try to give themselves some shooting lanes. There's another one from Leland, although this one, he was just rotating through the goal mouth, found Gerardo. Here's Duskippy, has a chance. The inliner gets there first. Out of the orange corner now, Leland, bouncer, almost gets the touch to put his team in the lead, but he just goes underneath the ball.
And again, I feel like that might be that mental fortitude coming into play. Looked like may have just been a little bit too quick trying to react to that shot opportunity. UCSB could desperately use a break from this pressure coming in from the University of Oregon. Now finally a passing play put together. Yinliner beats out the offensive player and Duskippy forced to play into his own corner. Viking, however, beat here on the side. 20 seconds on the clock. Duskippy looking for the pass. Touch out back towards Leland, but it's a bit of a ground pinch, and they're off to the races.
Final moments here in regulation time. Game number 5. Leland, that's a giveaway. Inliner, Duskippy makes the save, completely bailing out his teammate there, and we will see overtime.
Such a close call, but Oregon are no strangers to making clutch saves this game. We've already seen it multiple times. And now UCSB could very well decide whether they go to the playoffs or not based on the next goal scored in this game. They will start out on the offense. As I mentioned, they desperately needed this reset after such a lengthy time spent on their own half. Viking up for the shot, it's on target. Leland barely getting it away. Gerardo for the follow, and Acro is there. Pass up to Duskippy to get it out, but Viking's going to return to the zone.
Shot after shot now for Santa Barbara, but save after save for Oregon. The inliner wants to keep things going. Acro's there to make another save on the goal line. Gerardo trying to keep the pressure on. One will bounce down. Viking beats Leland to the ball. It comes towards the inliner. He's looking to pass out. Viking is there. He'll score. Santa Barbara winning game 5. And once again, it's the passing plays. Beautiful from Santa Barbara.
And such good faith from Yinliner, knowing that Viking is going to rotate in and make that play. And that double commit out of the nets, and UCSB knew they had that chance, and Oregon knew it too. They tried to get in for the interference just a moment too late. And Santa Barbara finished their regular season at 8 wins and 7 losses per series. But oh my goodness, did Oregon give them a run for their money.
Wow, came down to overtime in game 5 for them to push over 500 on their season. And congratulations to them. They battled back in that game. It really, just in the series in general, it was a slugfest both ways. Looked like neither team wanted to give up. Oregon really wanted to go out with a bang. I was kind of worried about what their mental state would be coming in, but they left it all out on the pitch. Gave us a wonderful series. Eventually, it was the Gauchos who take the victory. And again, it cannot be overstated how important that win was for them. That could potentially be the difference maker in if they make the playoffs or not.
Yeah, and again, we're just gonna say, so many times tonight that the standings are so close. We don't have time to explain them all. So please, ! bracket in the chat. Take a look for yourself. And if you want to give us some thoughts on that bracket and the standings at present, go ahead and tweet at us with hashtag CRL19. We want to hear your thoughts here on the stream. That was an intense series, Hunted. But we got more Rocket League action. Head your way back over to the Eastern Conference. Next up, OSU Scarlet versus Miami. More playoff implications are going to be shown up here in this next best of 5. You won't want to miss it. Make sure you don't touch that dial.
Making sure they get to those midfields first.